Hey there guys, welcome to the stream. So I am just about ready to install this guy, and since all the wiring and stuff will be hidden at that point, I figured I may as well go over it here live on stream. This is obviously the desktop power strip, power supply that we designed over the past week. It's all assembled, all ready to go. As you can see, I've got my 4 plugs, this time the correct kind of plugs, because last time, evidently, I bought the wrong kind of plugs. And then you will notice that in our original design, I only had 2 sets of, what do you call them? I almost called them JSTs, but XT60s. Brain fart, yeah. So we only had 2 kinds of XT60s when we originally designed this. I swapped this out to 6, and it's hard to see on the camera, I'm sure, but this would be 12 volts, 9 volts, and 5 volts is what we got going on here. So I added in the 9 volts. Originally we had 5 volts and 12 volts. The 12 volts were important for, for example, my prototype controller. Important for that kind of stuff. 5 volts obviously runs a whole lot of stuff, so that makes sense. And then as I was putting together, I realized, you know what, 9 volts comes up pretty often. So let's go ahead and put 9 volts in there too. So now we have 5, 9, and 12. I was going to say, I had all those linear regulators already, so it wasn't that big of a deal for me. I didn't have to go out and buy more, so it was easy to add. Otherwise, as you can see, we've got all this stuff hooked up. Yeah, we've got the Wagos for the mains voltage. That would be the outlets are hooked up to the Wagos. I also have the grounds for the lower voltages all on the same Wago right here. Otherwise, the rest of them come through these cheap knockoff Molex connectors. I came down here to the lower camera because I figured the closer view would make it easier, and I'm realizing that I've got to pull everything a little bit closer to make it easier for you to see. Off screen here to the left here is just the box that holds the mains power. You can see this going this way. That is just the original power strip that I stripped down and desoldered a bunch of stuff off of. And that is just now in its own custom box. Again, you're not going to be able to see it because I have plugged in right now. This is live. So that is that. And then otherwise, this little box here, this cute little box here with the breathing holes, is the box that has all the linear regulators in it for the DC power, and that is plugged into this laptop power supply that I showed you the last time. I did use the XT60s on this guy as well. It's one of these things. I had chopped this power connector a long time ago. Had I not, I might have considered just going out and getting barrel connectors to do this. That way I didn't have to mutilate the cable. But since the cable was already mutilated, we just went on it. Also, you'll notice that I have electrical tape on here instead of shrink wrap. And that's because I tried my best, but there was just plain no getting the shrink wrap on this the way it's set up. These cables are neutral shielding. So the neutral's on the outside, basically acting as shielding with the power coming through the center. So the way I had to split that up to get it soldered into here, it just made it extremely difficult to get the the shrink tubes onto it. I think maybe with a little bit more effort I could have done it, but I ended up giving up and just threw some hot glue in there to make sure they stayed insulated and wrapped it in electrical tape and called that a day. Otherwise, everything else, as you can see, has shrink wrap appropriately. Moving on from that, a couple things to talk about this power strip. One, this is, I have decided, I was looking at how I was going to get this all powered, and the DC power, okay, I was going to run in parallel to it on a different strip, and then I decided, you know what, I'm trying to save plugs here, and this doesn't need to be plugged in all the time. So my intention is to take this DC power supply and just plug it into one of the AC slots. And I've got my multimeter up here just so that I can prove that this works. Now, it's going to be real funny. Whoops. It's going to be real funny if it doesn't work live on stream, but I tested it literally 5 minutes ago, so there's 12 volts, there's 9 volts, and it does look like you can see this on stream, so that's good. There's 5 volts. So, yep, all the power supplies are working. Oh, one other thing to just notice. I just pigtailed these together, so these guys just go into one cable, and then goes from there. So that is the overview. Oh, actually, sorry. And next thing I wanted to mention is, you will recall when we were designing this, I said I can't really think of a good reason to have these pop out, because that was my original design. My original design was having these guys pop out so that you could take it and stretch the extension cord out further. That was my reasoning, which is why I said it didn't make any sense really to have these removable, because the point is it's on my desk, so you should be able to reach it because it's on my desk, and you don't have to go like down the side of my desk to another power strip. You don't have to stretch that far. It's literally 4 foot from you, so there's no power cord that's going to be less than 4 foot from you, so there's no reason to have these pop out. I have discovered one reason to have these guys pop out, and that reason is fat power supplies. Fat power supplies do not fit. So that is a problem. But at the same time, I'm hoping that most of the stuff I plug into this guy will not be, fat power supplies like this. This can go into the wall. Other stuff, for example, my solder iron, this guy, all that stuff will fit into here because they're just normal plugs. So I don't anticipate me having a problem, but it very well may end up being a problem at some point in time, or at least an inconvenience. It's a possibility, but whatever. The other way to get around this is to just make this bigger so that we have clearance around these plug holes. The reason I'm not doing that is that the point of it flipping down to begin with is that it's supposed to be a low profile. So if it's supposed to be low profile, then making it bigger so that we can, on rare occasion, use one of these wall work kind of things in here doesn't make very much sense. So we will not be doing that. Next thing I wanted to say about this, as I'm talking and remembering more and more stuff I wanted to say, I am kind of curious. So it's one of those things. This is all 14 gauge wire. Actually, no, this is 16. Yeah, this is 16. I use 16 in here, and then 14 back here going into the box, and the box has 14 coming out of the box. So it's one of those things. In theory, it could hold a good bit of amperage, but I think I'm going to try to make an effort not to plug hair blowers into it and whatnot, just because I am a little bit concerned about running too much amperage through here. And it's really got me thinking about, especially, as I add more stuff to my desk, example, these lights, if I all of a sudden add a better camera as opposed to this webcam, I just realized that webcam's cable is in shot right now. That's very professional. Anyway, point being is that the more I add to this desk, the more I wonder whether or not I shouldn't have another dedicated mains outlet, using another dedicated mains outlet, because I've got quite a bit going between my computer, the lights, monitors, etc. It's just one of these interesting things that now that I'm dealing with the power situation over here, it's got me thinking. Otherwise, with the rest of this, obviously, as you can see here, this is all these boxes are just going to be mounted to the back side of my desk over there, below the desk level. So they'll be nice and hidden and tucked away. We'll never have to deal with them ever again. This cable, I'll probably get something, might print it, might just use one of the, what do you call them? The paper clips, not the paper clips, the binder clips. There you go. I might just grab a binder clip, one of those things, put the binder clip on it to keep it up above the desk level so I can grab it and plug it in when I need it. And that resolves all the information that I wanted to convey at the moment concerning how this is working. Since we have you here, I'll go ahead and just go over the different things that you have not seen as part of the design process, because there was a little bit of tweaking that went on. So first off, got my new outlets in, just printed a couple test pieces to make sure that I had the outlet size correctly for the outlet to fit into. Just had to make a minor adjustment to get it fitted perfectly, you know, so that the little clips on the sides properly panel mount in and clip in. This right here is just a mock-up of the bottom of the DC power box. One of those things, I had a circuit board, well, I have a circuit board, prototype circuit board that everything's soldered down to, so I just want to make sure I had the mounting holes right for that guy. They're just a hair off, otherwise they're fine. This is the first of the grommets that I printed, and I just printed a very minimal grommet just to make sure everything worked. And yeah, I mean, everything basically did work. The only thing that I decided based on this guy is that I wanted to have a full grommet. That way it didn't slide around. In the original design, this whole side was filled in because I didn't know where I was going to put the pivot point right originally. So since this whole entire side was filled in, that would actually keep this from sliding forward and backwards and left and right in the grommet hole. Well, it shouldn't ever move left or right, but forwards and backwards it definitely could move. When I went to this minimal design, I realized, oh yeah, better make sure I don't do something like this on the final version. Better make sure I have at least a full side. That way it doesn't slip around in the grommet. So I printed this guy, and this guy has two issues that I discovered. First is that the back grommet, which is this side, so this back side of the grommet, actually was impacting the cables here when you tilt it up. So when you tilt up, you can see if I had this wall here, that would be impacting everything. Or actually, I'm sorry, no. I got that backwards. When I tilt down, you can see the back wall would be impacting the cables. So that's the first thing that I had to fix, was just getting rid of the back side of the grommet. One of those things, because this is a full length side right here, that's still going to keep it from sliding forward and backwards, so that's no big deal. The next thing is that you'll see I added this stop in here. This stop is so that the whole entire piece can't rotate all the way 90 degrees up in the air. It keeps it at this 45-ish degree angle and doesn't let it go any further. And for that, I need this slot, which I forgot on this guy. I forgot to put a slot in here for this little pin, this little M3 bolt, to keep it from rotating further up. So that was the design on those guys. Now this guy I have up here because this fake Molex connector that I had here was originally 3 of these quick connect connectors. Unfortunately, as you can see, the quick connect connector is missing from the inside there. These ones, I have used other sizes from this kit in other projects and haven't had a problem, but evidently these 12 to 14 gauge quick connectors were super tight. So I tried pulling them. First one pulled right out of the cable, which, you know, was completely obnoxious, and I started trying to fix it and got it more or less opened up into the point where I probably could recrimp it. Then I did the next one, and the next one I used pliers. I used pliers to pull the next one out to make sure. So I grabbed over here with another pair of pliers on the actual connector itself, pulled it apart. That one was okay. And then this was actually the third one. The third one, I went to do the same exact thing with the pliers, and it still pulled out anyway. So at that point, I just had enough of it. I chopped them off, and they're all going in the trash, and we just got this Molex connector. Again, fake Molex connector right here. Easy enough to get apart. So that is that. So yep, that's all the design stuff that you did not see on the stream. All relatively minor stuff, you know, just little tweaks, like for example this pin right here to keep it from rotating all the way up, this Molex connector changing from quick connects to a Molex connector, which, you know, is more convenient, let's face it. Instead of having 3 cables to connect, having just the one connector works. And then I didn't do these boxes on stream, either this box for the DC power or the other box for the AC power. It's just very simple, very, very simple. Make a square box, hollow it out, and then toss little feet on it for the mounting screws. There was nothing really to it, and therefore I didn't, feel any need to do that live on stream. So yeah, all right. I believe that is the entirety of the project. The only thing that's waiting for on the project right now to get it installed is a jigsaw. I got to track down a jigsaw because I don't have one. Well, I could do these edges with a circular saw, just plunge a circular saw to get the cuts in. The short edges I can't do with a circular saw because it's just way too short. I could try doing them with a sawzall, but that just seems like asking for trouble. So I'm going to track down a jigsaw. It makes the most sense. And I'll cut the grommet with the jigsaw and just pop this in there. I did say that I was going to have this spring-loaded, but frankly, if I decide I need to do that, I will. I will modify this and make it spring-loaded and add a little tab in here to keep it down. It's very simple to do, to modify it to get it retained, to retain it, keep it from springing open. It's just the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that this is going to stay open 99% of the time. And when I close it once a year, for some reason, I can't even think of a good reason why I would close it, I can always just pop it back open manually, and it's going to hold the position. It's not going to drop at all. It's tight enough that it's going to stay there, so I'm not completely concerned about it holding open. So that is everything for the project. Now, finally, I think I've said that 3 or 4 times, but this time for sure. So, per the stream title, other things, other project updates and channel updates, etc. This does bring, especially the fact that I'm talking about design stuff on here, kind of brings the elephant into the room. Obviously, I have not done full videos, project videos, for a while now. My biggest problem, well, I have 2 problems basically with it. One, I don't have terribly much space to have an area. I've basically got to set up an area temporarily, do my recording, and then, put it all away really quick. And that's not terribly convenient, so convenience is definitely part of it. The other part of it is just plain, it takes days for me to get these project videos done with what time I have. It's one of those things, if I was doing this full time, then I'd have plenty of time to do the project videos, but I'm not. So one of these things I'm thinking about for the channel, obviously full time is not viable at the moment, but maybe I'm considering hiring an editor to get project videos out just for the project videos. It's an idea popping around my head. It's one of those things. If I'm serious about the channel, then maybe get an editor just to make sure that content gets out. We'll look at that. I'm definitely looking at that. So the project videos, consider them temporarily on hold unless I get a bunch of free time off of work or an editor. One of those 2 things. The second thing about the channel that I wanted to talk about was, what was the second thing? I probably should have made a list. Well, while I'm thinking that, while I'm trying to figure out what the other thing concerning strictly the channel was, I will say that projects I'm looking at doing, that's what it was. The other thing with the channel is the contests. Obviously, I was doing the printables contest for a while. That got a little bit discouraging after I started checking out the winners and whatnot. And it's not so much that I expect to win, it's just that I'd expect there to be some kind of criteria by which I could tell who is winning these contests. And frankly, I just can't figure it out. To some degree, some of the winners definitely seem to be popular, and I can accept that. That's like A-okay by me. People with the most downloads, likes, completely understand that criteria. The problem is that the other people winning, I just don't get it. I look at the stuff they make, and it seems like very low effort, 0 utility stuff, and this is not me being salty. This is just, if I knew what I could do in order to have a better chance at winning these contests, I would do it. And I just can't figure it out. I look at some of this stuff and I'm like, I can't figure out how exactly they won, which means that I can't change what I'm doing, adapt what I'm doing, since obviously I don't have the likes and downloads right now to qualify under the other criteria to put something out there that will win. It's one of those things. The RGB indicator, I have like a 3-page essay on the thing up on printables, so it's not like I'm not putting tons of work into the product description. I have plenty of images, I got plenty of diagrams, definitely a lot more than other people who are winning, so it's not a matter of effort. I'm pretty thorough with how I detail my projects that I put up there for the contest, so it's definitely not that. It's, again, I cannot figure out the other criteria that they're judging it by, because it's definitely not popularity and it's definitely not either uniqueness or utility. So it's one of those things. It's very hard for me to take these contests seriously if it doesn't seem like the judges are being serious about how they're selecting their contestants. So that is why I have not bothered with any more of the printables contests. Maybe later on we come back to them, but I can't get a tab on these judges. I can't tell you. I mean, as best as I can tell, some of these winners, they just basically randomly picked an entry and gave it a charity win. That's the best I got for it. So that's that. All right. So yes, those were the two big channel updates in terms of content. Is the project videos just take way too much time away from streaming and doing other projects. Like there's no way I would have had this project done as quickly as I did if I had to spend 3 days recording and editing a project video. So one of those things. It's just a trade-off right now for the project videos. And then the printables contests, I hate to say they're not legitimate, but it's very hard to take them seriously when some of these winners do the silliest, least effort thing and somehow still get selected. So I don't know what to tell you, because it's not something, if I'm basically running the lottery here for the printables contest, then may as well just do projects that I really enjoy, So that's that. Otherwise, what we're working on this weekend, going into this weekend, because it is currently Thursday, so we're heading towards Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Projects for this weekend. I should, at any rate, do some more pixel stuff, because I got started on that and we haven't been back to it because I hopped over onto other projects. So we should get back to that, because again, right now, if I want to send you somewhere, I gotta send you to, like, I don't even have anything good to kick you over to right now. Black screen is probably the best I got. Let's see, VS Code. All right, so I gotta kick you over to somewhere random. This is the VS Code for the Scripps Arena, right, that we were doing on the other screen. So I gotta do something like this. So I really need a transfer screen, a transition screen rather, for going back and forth. So that is something that I should work on. I haven't put that in my calendar specifically, but I probably should work on that. The other things, Scripps Arena, since I just had that up, one of these things, I've only got just so much time, so I haven't given a real look, but the fact that we're stuck with such low level functionality, I mean, to some degree I can understand it, and it's not that, it doesn't bother me that much. At the other time, it's the rest of the game, I haven't seen yet any particular draw for the rest of the game, and I'm still a little bit concerned that it's just run your AI against the opponent's AI. The problem with that being that, again, the game was touted as RTS for programmers, and if there's no RT, no real time, and you're just setting up an AI to run beforehand, then that's, it's not exactly straight up promotions, not exactly honest advertising. So I'm not 100% sure if I will get back to Scripps. I very, very briefly had this idea. Maybe I make my own scripps. That might be interesting. My own spin-off, rip-off game of it. Probably not going to happen. But it was definitely an idea I had. Because I like the idea, it's just, if it's not real time, which, again, until I get through the tutorial and start playing it real, I won't know. So, that is up in the air. The DMing stuff, the DM prep, I will probably do another episode of that either Friday night or Saturday at some point. Just because, even though I have I have about a week. It's Friday, I'll have a week as of Friday to finish the rest of that mission. So I will probably get back to that. Also, if I sounded a little bit lower energy last night while I was doing it, on one hand, I've been trying out the chill streams. For example, when we first did the pixel art stream, I was trying to stay very chill and whatnot with that one. So on the one hand, I was kind of trying to do a chill stream while we were just drawing out the map. On the other hand, honestly, I was a little out of it just because I got injured at work. And it's one of these things, injuries at work are kind of debilitating mentally because it's, unfortunately, well, let me just say really quick. Fortunately, I woke up this morning. I had 2,000 pounds of steel fall on my ankle yesterday. I woke up this morning. It wasn't feeling that bad. So I'm obviously a bit more optimistic and upbeat right now. But last night I was a bit concerned because it hurt like heck. And we're fine now. So it's one of those things. On the one hand, I made the excuse probably that I was going to do a chill stream in my head. But I think that probably was partially due to the fact that the back of my brain was worried about work and being able to continue work. So that is that. So yeah, another DM prep session. This time designing monsters and pulling tokens will probably, well, not probably, that will be what we'll be doing next one. And that will be, like I said, either tomorrow night or sometime Saturday. Beyond that, I also want to, and I was trying to find a game to do this for, but I want to make a custom joystick. One of those things, after I saw how simple joysticks are, after I started researching them, I figured, why not? Why not build a custom joystick? Obviously, there's a bunch of different custom arcade inputs that I want to do for the arcade prototype controller. This will be a good first step, just a custom joystick. I'm thinking a palm-held, kind of four-directional, with some buttons on it. Kind of like a trackpad, but less rolly, basically, less rolly. It, rather than being analog input, it will be, micro switch. It will be digital, just like a normal joystick for arcade. So we'll do that stream at some point. Again, depending on where the DM stuff goes, that goes around it. So pixels, that, and let's see. Yeah, I'm kind of off mustache right now. I talked about this. So I had a stream of mustache that I ended up taking down just because it was not very high quality. And it also helps that it got copyright striked. So that gives me an additional excuse. But I'm kind of off mustache right now just because I can't play on stream any of the songs I know. And 90% of the songs in mustache are generic techno songs and not actually good, enjoyable vocal songs. So, plus the additional problem of there only being 2 buttons, which is a little boring. So, mustache, I don't know if that will make a return. We'll see what happens. But I will be looking for, well, again, I had another rhythm game in mind. It's a bit more expensive. Well, it's DJ Max, for the record. I was going to pick that one up when it was on sale. It was no longer on sale, but it's probably going back on sale anytime now. So when I pick that up, I will pull the rhythm game joystick back out for that. Otherwise, I am looking actively for games that interest me to play with the arcade stick specifically, if I can, and if I can't specifically play with the arcade stick anyway. One of the things, I want to get some more gaming content up. So I will play whatever I come across at this point that seems interesting. The problem is just, obviously finding some stuff that looks interesting. And let's see, any other projects that I wanted to announce just yet? I don't think so. One of those things, always have ideas cooking, but I had a couple projects early on that I didn't have a good idea of where I was going with them, and therefore they didn't make for very good design streams. So I try to have a better idea of where I'm going with my projects before I actually schedule them for streaming. So yeah, a couple ideas kicking around, but I want to make sure that the ideas are working, are workable rather, before I actually commit them to stream. So I guess that wraps us up for today. Lots of hand cam today since I didn't have anything else to throw up on the stream. So thanks for watching my hands. And thanks for watching the stream. So as always, wherever you're at in the world, I hope you have a great and wonderful day, afternoon, or evening, and I will catch you next time.